Professor Noah Midamba and Professor Peter Kagwanja. They will also give their opening remarks shortly. But it is very important that we check on the ground in Addis Ababa how the atmosphere is like. Before we got into the sports news, we had taken a short break, of course, following the happenings in Addis Ababa for our lunch break, and we're expecting them to resume at 3 p.m. But for the accurate details, it's 3 minutes past 3 p.m. right here. Let's hear from Daniel Kariuki, who has been pitching camp there and doing a very good job. It's good to see you, Kariuki. What are the updates so far? Are we moving as per the program? And what are the expectations into the hour? Kariuki.
Indeed, you've said it right. You are still here in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and today being a Saturday is the big day that we are awaiting to see how the situation will be. Today is when the heads of state are going to be going to elect the next chairperson of the African Union Commission. Of course, we have 3 candidates, and Kenya has a candidate, Raila Odinga, who is already in Addis Ababa and was in the morning session of the assembly. But just to have a feel of expectations and maybe what is going on here in Addis Ababa, I'm joined by the governor for Bungoma, that's Ken Lusaka, to just give us just a sneak preview. Kenyans have already started to celebrate the election of the AUC chairperson. What can you tell Kenyans back home?
I just want to tell Kenyans that we are here. We have come to offer moral support to our candidate, Right Honorable Raila Odinga. We are about 10 governors and very members of parliament. This is a momentous moment for us as a country, because when if Raila, and we are hopeful that it's going to be the chair, it's a big opportunity to network and make sure that it brings back the benefits that we'll get across the continent. So it's a very strategic position, and like you can see, this one has nothing to do with the political parties. We have all come here united as a country, and we are just here representing those who are back in Kenya, and we are very positive and confident that this is going to be an opportunity for us to shine. And one takeaway that I've also had here, which I think is very important for us, is the fact that Africa is now beginning to talk as a country, one continent, bringing back the memories of Pan-Africanism of the Kwame Nkrumah. And they are saying that instead of relying on support from other partners, if we harness the resources that we have as a continent, we can be able to transform this continent. Many of these African countries, including Kenya, has minerals which we can use to develop our country. So we look forward to a bright future as a continent where infrastructure, education, health will be given priority when Baba takes over as the chair.
Definitely. 10 governors, more than 50 members of parliament, as well as government officials. I've seen several cabinet secretaries here. Maybe if Raila Odinga wins this AUC, maybe you as a governor of Bungoma County and one of the leaders in the country, what are some of the expectations, maybe, apart from the fact that Kenya will be heading this commission?
Just like I said, it gives us an opportunity to network across, because even as counties, we normally look for support from other partners. And now, if, say, Raila becomes the chairman, that's a very good stepping stone as a country to be able to network, because we go to other countries like Zambia, we go to Angola, we go to Egypt, we go to many other countries. So it will be very easy for us now to get an opportunity to get any support that we can get from other African countries. And like if we don't have, say, our own whom we can use or access easily. So that's the pride. That's why you can see that there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of enthusiasm that if we clinch this, it's going to be an opportunity, because Kenya is also a very strategic country in terms of the region, and that this therefore places us very well in terms of where we want to go as a country.
Right, before I let you go, maybe what can you tell Kenyans in expectation of the election this afternoon?
We are very excited, Kenyans. We are here to represent you, and I know the whole country is at a standstill because they are watching. We are very hopeful and prayerful that we are going to clinch this chairmanship, and this is a moment for me. It's a great moment because I'm exactly the age of African Union. I was born in 1963, and to be able to participate today and be part of this, I think is a memorable day for me.
Right. Thank you very much, Governor Lusaka there, here in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And definitely, we are hoping for the best and all the best to Raila Odinga. Thank you very much. That's Governor Ken Lusaka, Bungoma County Governor, of course, talking to us and telling us more about matters to do with the election and the expectations back home. And definitely, we have more guests we are going to be hearing from them about matters to do with this conference that is ongoing here in Addis Ababa, just to have a feel of what maybe is their expectations. And there are so many leaders. I'm going to be engaging them in a few, just to have a feel also of their expectation here in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And definitely this morning there was a General Assembly, and the outgoing chairman, that is Musa Faki, gave his last remarks on the 8 years that he has been at the helm of the commission, and he has said that maybe he would have done a lot, but those that he did not manage to do, calling on the next chairperson to try and move and push to ensure that they have been accomplished. And definitely that means that he is ready for the election also, as someone else also takes it over. Maybe I can just have to hear what maybe some of the delegates have to say concerning this. Thank you very much for joining us here on KTN. Definitely many Kenyans, many Africans are already here. You can just maybe tell us your name and your expectations, and maybe you are here attending this conference. What have you managed to gather so far?
Thank you very much. It's been a very heavy agenda today. My name is Swazi Shabalala, and I'm the candidate for the presidency of the African Development Bank.
Really? Okay, thank you very much. Definitely, you being a candidate of the African Development Bank, there is much that is into it because already there has been issues to do with matters to do with the credit rating and call for Africa to have its own agency. Maybe you can just tell us from this conference much of what you have managed to get to know about matters to do with Africa.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of discussion. Africa is at an inflection point, and I think that we all understand with the complicated geopolitics at the moment that, in many ways, Africa is going to have to really be focused in order to drive change and development. And what I'm hoping is that coming out of this conference, there will be serious resolutions that will drive, in fact, issues around Africa's ability to accelerate investment in infrastructure, investment in agriculture, investment in new technology and AI, because, otherwise we risk being left behind.
All right, thank you very much. And before I let you go, there is the issue of Africa trying to be independent and not depending so much on the other continents. Maybe do you think that it is time that Africa could move and become independent?
Well, presumably you're talking about reliance on the financial resources of
precisely
for development. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a very good argument to be made for saying that we should take greater responsibility for our own development. But I think we are not perhaps fully ready to move away completely. But for me, there's an opportunity with the private sector, mobilizing private sector institutional funds. Africa has over $3 trillion of these funds, and they could be made available for development in Africa rather than invested in bonds, international bonds that benefit other countries. Right. So I'm in favor of that.
That's nice. Once again I let you go, President William Ruto, the Kenyan president, has said that it is good to have an African agency that will deal with matters to do with credit rating. What's your take?
My take is that I think, there's a lot of advice that African countries need in terms of managing their credit rating. There are lots of credit. By the way, people don't realize that actually there's a lot of African credit rating agencies. and, who do a lot of good work. But I think that, there is absolutely value in having an institution that will help African countries build capacity to manage their own credit ratings.
Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best as you seek to lead in the African Development Bank. Thank you very much. Of course, that is one of the candidates that is seeking to be part of the African Development Bank, talking about matters to do with credit, matters to do with the leadership and also development here in Africa. And I want to engage more leaders. Maybe I could just try to see if I can get one of the leaders just to have a feel of what is happening here in Addis Ababa. I can see I have the governor for Kisumu County, that is Governor Anyang' Nyong'o, just to feel what he has to tell us about the expectations back home. Thank you very much. You're live on KTN News. Definitely, Professor, Kenyans are eagerly waiting on this big day, Saturday. What can you tell us? What are the expectations this afternoon?
I think the expectation in Kenya really is just one thing. They're expecting Raila Odinga to be elected as chairman of the AU Commission. And I think we pray God that that will happen. I think we are in high spirit as Kenyans. The candidate in high spirit. So being on the positive sides of things, we hope for the best. Yes.
Right. 10 governors, more than 50 members of parliament. If Raila Odinga wins this seat, you as the governor of Kisumu County, what are you looking forward to?
We're looking forward to his very effective role in the AU, as he has been in Kenyan politics. We're looking forward to a man who likes to build consensus so that people can work together and move forward. As you know, at the moment, we have issues in Africa that need building consensus. We have a crisis in the DRC, which is a very sensitive thing. It involves foreign powers coming in to pit us against each other while they loot our resources. All these things require a very clear understanding of what is happening and what we as Africans should do to advance African liberation and the African revolution. A revolution that might involve the use of our own resources for our own development. The idea that we have a world in which imperialism is re-emerging in a new way. And we must understand it and have solidarity with the other people in the world who are in equal struggle. That's why I was so happy about statements that were made today about Palestine and the statement made by the Caribbean representatives that we need to come together as people of African descent and people are suffering under imperialism to advance our cause.
Hey, thank you very much. Governor, kuna sherehe hivi baadaye maneno namna hii sherehe ya kusherehekea ushindi?
Well, sherehe iko lakini siwezi kusema iko pande gani. Tuna watu hapa mijini ambao wanajitayarisha kukuwa na sherehe.
Tualike. Asante sana, Governor. Thank you very much. That is Governor for Kisumu County. That is Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, just giving us a hint of what is expected and definitely telling us about the much awaited election and what Kenya stands to gain, especially if Raila Odinga will be the chairperson of the African Union Commission here in Addis Ababa once he is elected into office this afternoon. The session is going to be happening in a closed door meeting, and definitely we'll keep the viewer updated so that at least he or she understands the ongoings here in Addis Ababa. And I want to engage more leaders because leaders are there. I want to just have a feel, of what is happening. Mheshimiwa, asante sana. You are live on KTN. Definitely, we are following on what is happening here in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, on the election of the AUC chair, where we have interest as Kenya, and you as a member of parliament, you've come here in support of Raila Odinga. So far, how would you term the ongoings here in the AUC assembly?
Well, we are upbeat as Kenyans about what is yet to happen. It will be a closed-door session, which I think should also be beginning in a few minutes. And that is when the election is going to be held. It ought to have been done, like the last item. But word has it that some presidents and heads of governments are planning to leave a little earlier. So they have brought it forward, backwards, so that it can be done in good time. As Kenyans, we are very happy. If you look at what is happening even back at home, Kisumu, where I come from, is in a celebratory mood now. The ungazetted barrack of Kondele is up in arms, quite upbeat about what is going on. Nairobi CBD, we have seen people really expectant of the deliberations of this assembly. So we are, as Kenyans, quite anxious about what is going to happen, but we are very optimistic of Raila Odinga's win. Now, coming to the plenary, what has happened since morning, Africa is coming to the realization that we must unite in order to get what is rightfully ours. The theme is about injustices meted on Africans and the need for reparations to be done. And they're talking about real reparations, not just lip service that we have been treated to for way too long. So we hope that the resolutions that will come out of these deliberations will be those that will be actioned, they will be taken to the next level, so that as Africa, we can move as one unitary society.
Right, Mheshimiwa, before I let you go, three candidates, and of course you've heard there were reports of a letter released by SADC on maybe encouraging the member states of SADC to elect the Madagascar candidate, Richard Mandrato. What's your take about that? Can that change the dynamics this afternoon?
Well, the dealing with presidents is different from dealing with the common people that vote in an electoral process, such as in our case. And I want to believe that presidents have principles. They are governed by the rule of law as well, and are not going to be swayed by mere letters. Again, the authenticity of that letter still remains a mystery. So we do not know whether that letter is indeed a letter that came from SADC. But even if it did, we do know that we also have friends, and Baba has actually traversed the entire African continent, swaying leaders, presidents and heads of governments to vote for him. So we are not going to be taken aback by letters flying around whose authenticity remains questionable. So we do know that Baba, just like any other candidate, has moved across Africa, talking to presidents who will make that decision here today.
Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa.
Of
course, Professor Anyang' Nyong'o has told me that there will be party after party. I need also to be invited with my colleague Brian and also Nyongesa, our camera person.
You will have to come.
Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa. Definitely we'll keep the viewer updated. But for now, I want to hand it back to studio. And as I hand it back to studio, just to remind you that this election is going to be having 3 rounds. And in the 3 rounds, the winner must manage to get to at least Ghana 2/3 vote. That is around 33 votes of the 49 that will be casted today. And also that definitely means if we miss to get a winner in the 3 rounds, then they're going to be moving to the 4th round, 2 top candidates. And then if still we miss to get a winner, then we move to the 5th round that will have 1 candidate. So we'll keep the viewer updated when and as it happens here in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. But for now, let me hand it back to studio.
Well, there you have Daniel Kariuki telling us, well, there's anticipation for party after party back here in Kenya.